Welcome to Regent Park TV. I'm Miguel, and today we bring you a story from Queen's Park, where Indigenous youth and allies marked Canada Day with a powerful rally against Bill 5, Ontario's controversial new law aimed at accelerating development and mining projects. This legislation grants the Ford government unprecedented powers to override municipal and environmental regulations in so-called special economic zones.
Kill Bill 5! Kill Bill!
While this isn't a Regent Park specific issue, it matters deeply to our community and others across Toronto. Indigenous land rights, environmental justice, and civic participation are central to the well-being of all communities. The rally took place beside the Okiniwak Encampment, an Indigenous youth-led camp and sacred fire established in early June on the northwest side of Queen's Park. Since its passage on June 5, Bill 5 has drawn sharp criticism from First Nations leaders, legal experts, environmental groups, and Indigenous youth activists. It's viewed as a direct threat to treaty rights, sacred lands, and biodiversity, and a step backward in Ontario's commitments to truth and reconciliation. Despite being among the most impacted, Indigenous youth were excluded from the Bill 5 consultation process. Wearing red shirts printed with the words, "We are still here. We are the seventh fire, and we will not be legislated out of our rights." Speakers warned that Bill 5 enables unchecked development, threatens species, and ignores Indigenous consent, leaving communities to defend their land through costly legal or direct action. For neighborhoods like Regent Park and others across Toronto, these events highlight urgent civic questions. Who gets to shape our future? Whose voices are heard in public policy? And how do we support Indigenous leadership in shaping a more just province? You'll now hear voices from the rally, including youth and elders, who delivered powerful speeches. Among them were members of the Oshkatisak, All Young People's Council, the Oneida Nation Youth Representatives, Mushkegowuk Youth Council, Queen's Park Youth Delegation, and Indian Youth Council.
We're from the Nanoshkatazak Youth Council, and we've been spearheading Okiniwak along with the people of Queen's Park here. That day it felt like my world fell apart because I knew that the road ahead is going to be really hard and tough. And I was so unbelievably angry, especially in that room where Bill 5 was passed. I watched my leadership get thrown out for using their voice. But as we came outside, I saw that the leadership from all over of these PTOs, these organizations, they left. You know, they got into their cars and they left. And you know who stayed behind? It was our youth and our mothers, and they were outside. And then the idea of them camping there came within that night. And it didn't feel right to see my leadership leave because they should be standing with us. But I still do honor and respect that they had places to go and things to do. But I would have wished that they stuck around a little longer. So I gave myself that mission, that I needed to stay around if they weren't going to do it. And a lot of our youth felt the same way, that if our leadership aren't going to move, then we are. And some of the first people that moved after Bill 5 had passed was the youth. And the youth that will be speaking later, that are from the Mushkegowuk Regional Youth Council, they started Youth Rising together. And they moved fast in Timmins. And they had a huge rally. And some people here in this crowd were at that rally. And while they're doing that, I came here as much as I could with the people in camp, our youth, our mothers, the firekeepers. And I talked with them so much about how we can support them and be that bridge from grassroots to leadership. And this role has been very tough the last 3 weeks. Every single day, that's the only thing I've been thinking about is Bill 5 and Bill C-5, and how this can turn into something greater. And I like to compare it to kicking a big rock down a mountain, and when it has momentum, it can start to destroy bigger things. And later down the line, it can turn into mudslides or something like an avalanche. And what I'm comparing the avalanche to is having our rights legislated away from us. Everyone here in their lifetime has felt that First Nations people, our rights have been legislated away from us for the longest time. And we weren't seen as Canadians or humans till 1950. And that's not right, that we have to fight to be seen as human, for our rights to be upheld. And even now, with Bill 5, is another attack on our treaty and inherent rights. And further down the line, they're not only going to come after the land, they're going to come after us as First Nations and the right to being status under those treaties. And that's going to be very soon. That's coming up. Now, as youth, this is unacceptable. I'm very angry and frustrated. And I'm done with the way that we're being treated. Which is why I spent like the last 3 weeks with the team here, Andrea, Cohen, and Rex, and the people of the Queen's Park that are here. We've been planning every single night, and this is the first rally of many in different cities, in different First Nations. We're going to create this Okiniwak youth movement and be at their front doors, while someone like my cousin, Geronimo Cataquapit, who's leading Here We Stand, is up at the river right now with my family. And they just met with Mishkandaga. And they're upholding an encampment at the proposed ring of fire sites that are on the Arobscut River that go up to Mishkandaga. And they'll be there. And I know that the government in Canada hears us, because every single day I see another news press about Arobscut, about my cousin, about our people. And this is just going to keep growing. And I feel like we have a really good chance that we'll make great change here, because we're building off of our predecessors. We have people in an encampment that come by all the time from Idle No More that have been around those days, giving us lessons, pointers about how we can grow and start as a youth-led movement. And even yesterday, I was up until 12 and we're building that sweat lodge over there to bring the youth after, because we didn't have access to a sweat, though we made one. Of course, we did it with those protocols, and we'll be holding one later for the youth here. And I want to say miigwech for coming out, and please keep coming out. And I just want to touch a little bit on a few topics and the goals of this first rally. The reason why we're here is to be listened to and heard as youth, because often our voices are buried. And I've experienced this in the position I've been in as a youth, where they say, you got 5 minutes. You know, that's not right. I might not talk for a long time, but I have some things to say, just like the youth here. So the youth that are going to come up and speak after us, take your time.
As youth, so often we're expected to sit quietly while decisions are made without us, to wait patiently until we have the titles, until we get into the positions, until there are letters behind our names. We are the ones who will have to live with the consequences of the decisions made without us in those rooms. We will be the ones to drink the water that's been poisoned. We will be the ones to carry the grief that they legislated. Bill 5 and Bill C-5, the laws that skip consultation and fast-track destruction in the name of progress, the name of national interest, economic growth, and protecting the economy. They give it these long names so you forget what it looks like beneath it. And man, does it look an awful lot like sanitized land theft, like displacement. It looks like trees treated as an option. It looks like displaced animals hidden behind parliamentary procedure. Hunting sites and trap lines turned into drilling sites. Bulldozers dressed in policy. We're out here today to ensure that no one speaks our name louder than we do. We will not be silent because silence becomes the enabler. It's complicated mindset. It's law. There's nothing we can do about it mindset. Like everything today was not illegal at one point. To speak your language, to practice your ceremonies, we have a sweat lodge set up in Queen's Park, in the middle of Toronto. Bill 5 and Bill C-5 are man-made. If it was made, it can be unmade. So keep making the noise. Don't let the silence become the accomplice. This bill cuts us off from our own lands and our own ability to say no. They tell you that you don't understand progress, when you know full well it's always came with repercussions for your people. When progress means removing your people, displacing your animals, taking away your rights. And our leaders, they say that we don't know process when they don't invite you into the rooms, when you're not even spoken to as youth because you don't have those letters. And it's because after a certain point, after you turn a certain age, suddenly your opinion matters. Suddenly your thoughts matter. But we are standing here today, all of us, and there's so many young leaders around, but we are here to speak our thoughts, to stand in solidarity and say that we are watching. We will not let them take our rights. We will not let them poison our lands. Begrudge.
So the youth that are here present, you're going to be giving us our mandate. So how we move forward. And we're going to be around that sacred fire. And part of that mandate that we've already, have added to is requesting a meeting with the provincial and the federal government with the Okiniwak youth delegates. And I think it's possible. I really think that they're going to meet with us. And it's just a matter of seeing if you would like to be a part of it. And if you don't want to speak, how do you want to see us move forward? Because it will be quite opposite from the way that chiefs will give mandates to staff. It'll be the other way around, that youth give mandates to youth. And we'll move forward how you want us to. And we'll listen to the words that you say. And I'm sure that you can see on our banners here about the 7th fire. And I'm sure that you heard of the 7th fire everywhere. And for the last couple of years, that's something that my mom has been telling me about, the 7th fire. And I didn't really understand. She always used to say that the 7th fire will wake the people up. The 7th fire will lead the way to break the ground so that the next generation, they have a path laid forward just like the one in front of me. And we're the 7th fire. All the youth that are present here, we're the 7th fire. We'll get moving on youth council and youth presentations. So I'd like to call up the Oneida Nation youth representatives to come and speak to the people.
So big. Hi, my name is Taylin. And I'm Jessica. And we are Onyata Aga from Oneida Nation of the Thames.
I'm proud to be speaking today as part of a long line of people who care for this land, our treaties, and our future. Well, today the calendars are marked as Canada Day. The origin of its date can be traced back to a different name, Dominion Day, a name that reflected Canada's status as a dominion once under British rule. Let's take a moment to think on that word, dominion. It means control and authority, and that control was asserted without any consent.
Dominion Day was about Canada becoming a dominion under British rule in 1867. That control was claimed without talking to any First Nations without our ancestors' consent and without honoring the treaties that were already in place. Our people were here long before 1867 when Canada was formed. We had laws, we had governments, we had treaties. Treaties like the 1701 Treaty, the One Dish, One Spoon Agreement, and the Silver Covenant Chain. Oh my God.
Made nation to nation with the crown, we were and still are sovereign nation. The celebration of Canada's birth was known as Dominion Day until 1982. It was then that Canada changed the name to Canada Day. Why? Because Canada didn't want to be reminded that they were once ruled by Britain. They wanted to celebrate their sovereignty and their ability to govern themselves. Let that sit for a moment. Canada wanted not to be seen as a dominion, but here's the contradiction. While Canadians rejected Dominion Day for failing to honor their sovereignty, they still never truly honored ours.
That same year, 1982, for the first time, Canada put First Nations into the Constitution. That was 115 years after Confederation. And even then, they didn't grant us rights. They only recognized the ones we've always had. So we ask, how can Canada celebrate its independence while still denying ours? Now in 2025, we're facing new laws that threaten our lands and our rights again. Bill 5 in Ontario makes it easier for developers to skip over consultations with First Nations. Bill C-5 guts environmental protections and makes it harder for us to speak up for our water, the animals, and our sacred places. These laws go against everything our treaties stand for. They go against the principle of nation-to-nation relationships.
As Haudenosaunee people, we're taught to look ahead to the 7th generation. That means we make decisions not just for today, but for the faces we haven't seen yet. For the youth who will come after us, for the land and waters that will carry our songs forward. These bills and this holiday ask us to forget the past, but we carry memory, we carry responsibility. Our job is to protect what was given to us, not just for us, but those who are yet to come. So today, while others are celebrating Canada Day, we are standing in our truth. We are not anti-Canada. We are pro-future. We are pro-land. We are pro-treaty. We are proud of who we are, and we are not going anywhere.
To the youth listening, your voice matters. Your spirit matters. You were born into sovereignty. Don't let anyone tell you different.
We are the first people of this land. We are still here, and we are looking ahead, 7 generations strong. Yawa go!
We're going to sing a round dance song before we leave the stage. Hi-ya, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-ya, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hoya, hoya, ha, hoya, hoya, hi-yo, eh. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya, hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hoya, hoya, ha, hoya, hoya, hi-yo, eh. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-ya. Hi-yo, hi-yo,
I'm only 14, but I'm proud to stand here today with the other First Nation youths who care deeply about our lands, our rights, and our future. We are here to speak out against Bill 5 and Bill C-5 because these bills threaten everything our nations have worked to protect. These bills make it easier for our governments to approve projects on our land without real consultation, without consent, without our knowledge, and without respecting our responsibilities we have to care for our land and water. As youth, we have been taught to carry those responsibilities forward, to protect what our ancestors protected for us. These bills do the opposite. They ignore our people, they ignore our teachings, and they ignore our voices. Even though I'm only 14, I know this is about more than just me and who is currently here. It's about the generations to come. I want my children and my grandchildren to grow up with clean water, safe food, and a strong nation. We are here not to just be seen. We are here to be heard. We are here as the next generation of leaders. We will not be silent or be silenced by those in power. We say no to Bill 5. We say no to Bill C-5. And we say yes to First Nation voices, to our land, and to our future. Yonko.
It takes a lot to come up here and pour your heart out to keep to everybody. So I want to say very much for that. So I'd like to pass it on to the Queen's Park Encampment youth.
Tanse, Anin, Bojo, Sego, Sigali, and all the good ones for hello. My name is Octavia Kelsey Stonechild. I am an Afro-Indigenous youth. I came on June 2nd in the rain with just a tarp over my head. I'd like to say miigwech, hi, and all the good thank yous to everyone for showing up. My voice is a little bit shot today, but that's what happens when you're yelling at the wall to government that doesn't respect the original government. I'm so nervous. But that's what happens when you got 50 armored cops behind you too. It's okay to be nervous as well. Sometimes fear is your biggest tool. I'm a writer. I usually write things down. I was told to speak from my heart today. I might be a little shaky, but bear with me. Here at Okiniwak Movement, myself as a Black Indigenous person who was brought in by the Ojibwe Nation, and I was extremely disconnected. I am from Kakowashtahal Treaty 4 Nation, where my mother is from, and Otrios, Jamaica, where my father is from. Now, it is important that we recognize that this is an all nations movement too. That all of us are sitting here today with so much strength. This bill wants to take that away from us. This bill wants to take away our movement, our life, our water, our animals. And when I look at those Monia, our Joganash, for those who know what I'm talking about, you know, a lot of them this weekend are going to go up into those lands and set up camp there where we live, on our nation's land. On many of ours who's sitting in front of us, there's people driving up into our land now to go say, oh, we're going to be there for 2 weeks. But we have been there for thousands of years. We will not stop yelling at the wall. My mother personally works in land back law, and I followed behind her I follow behind the people's caravan of the Stone Childs. I'm here to represent those people from the 60s, 70s who have been screaming since then. This is a war crime against us. They will call us environmental terrorists. They call us these shameful names, but they don't realize that bringing a bulldozer straight through my land is shameful. That is beyond shameful. Especially to the people that you claimed that you signed a treaty with. Remember, we did not speak that language, and we never will. We will continue to speak our language. We will continue to learn, grow, and fight for our right on this land. I am adopted as well. I was adopted by Black Mi'kma'kis from Nova Scotia, and I'll never stop saying that. Because those people too are about to lay their people to rest after 400 years of scrutiny from these people as well. Africville, to Ottawa-Pascat, to Iqaluit, to the Yukon, to right in the middle here. This is ground zero. Again, they've knocked on our doors before, and we're here to march out to them and say, no, this is wrong. Bill C-5 rips through Endangered Species Act. You tried to save them before, but now you're back to kill them again. I come from the land of the sweetgrass as well. That place, I'm so far away, but I feel so connected to that. My Cookums are living in wildfire. This connection, I am learning every single day on how to come back to my people and stand strong against literal war machines. Our people, we don't have machines. We do have machines, but they're called irrigation systems. They're called planting. It's called herding. It's called bush burns. It's called taking care of that land. This is not land caretaking. None of it is. It's industrialization to the max. This breaks salmon fisheries, tortoise land, our mukwa, our bears, our tortoise. People look at our clans and, white people love to claim, Jaganash and Monia love to claim clan systems. But they don't know that that is actually a part of our blood. We have been protecting those animals and the others for such a long time. Those are part of our spirits. That is a part of our bones and blood and heart. So these war machines that are coming for these lands and the animals, and best believe they're coming for the people too, because we live there. If I had to say it over and over again. Here at Okiniwak, we have built relationships stronger than any legislature can know. If you can hear those tears, that's what's coming after. That was just a reminder for me that they want to silence young Indigenous voices as well. They forget that we have babies and children, that we have elders. I had a good friend, Eve Saint, come and support us in this mission from the Yintah. Another Takaranto person, but a land defender. I appreciate your love. A land defender too, from the Yintah, from way out west, come and support us. Indigenous harm reduction here for our substance users and things like that here. They closed their safe consumption sites too. We've been helping people all over this area recover. But we're still terrorists to them. We're still these awful people to them. Meanwhile, we come in evident peace. Evident peace. You know, on my way here yesterday, there was, on the news, I saw when you're riding the TTC, they have those, you know, little TVs that tell you about the horrible stuff in the world. And I saw Beyonce wore a shirt that said, Native Americans are the enemies of peace. And that was coming from a black woman. And for me to hear that, I want to say, as a mixed First Nation, I want to say that that is absolutely deplorable. We are not enemies of peace. They are trying to label us as enemies of peace, but they do not know what peace is. Keep that in your mind and your heart. I want to say thank you as well to Oneida Thames for coming. I got a chance to go over this past month and clean there and help. You know, there's Toronto's dump is right in Oneida Thames. A lot of people don't know that. All of our garbage goes to them. It starts with that. It starts with us here in Toronto, but you will not believe it. I've seen it from my own eyes, and they live in it. Their air quality is getting lower and lower. Grassy Narrows is fighting for their water to be clean for the past 50 years. As a little Toronto kid, I'm learning these things now, 21 years later. And it's deplorable, as I'll keep saying. So we must stand up and fight back. We must put up whatever we need to. Stand together. Togetherness is the way. From that little mixed black kid on your res, I will say, I'm here for you too. I don't mean to cry, but it just hurts so much. I don't care if these aren't white tears, best believe it. These are years of this is slavery all across the way. They burnt down Africville. They're coming to burn us down. We must stand up and fight back. A lot of people I've noticed in our community also use this. You've probably seen Colin Kaepernick do this before. But we can also do this. We can put up our fist in front of them. This is known by a lot of people as the Black Power fist. But this, when you raise your fist up high in the air, you're also raising it towards your Creator. Remind yourself of that. That this fist was used where? Standing Rock. You've seen this at Oka. You've seen this in Africville. You've seen this in Sudan. You've seen this in Palestine. You've seen this fist, so don't be afraid to raise it high because it's a symbol of peace. That you were standing up for yours and your own. And I want to say, don't ever stop. Hi, miigwech, tapwe. Of course, the Treaty 4, baby. To all the Cree Nation, too, who came to stand, personally, hi, thank you in tapwe, because these people need it here in the East. Okay? For our Northern Ontarian Crees. Also, I'm extremely proud of you. For our Anishinaabe Nation, as well, the Oneidas of the Six Nations. We have Six Nations as well. We have people coming down from Yukon and BC to support us. So again, hi, thank you. And those settlers, I better see you standing with us.
So I'd like to call then Dayan and then Dayan Youth Council to come up and speak.
Hello, Wache. My name is Lauren Nakaji. I'm from Moosonee, Ontario, in Treaty 9 territory, but currently live in North Bay, Ontario. I come to you today as an Indigenous youth and proud member of the Youth Wellness Council in Indianaja. And most of all, as a mother of two with a third on the way, I speak with urgency in my heart and strength in my voice because the future of our children is at stake. To be honest with you all, I have really bad anxiety when it comes to public speaking. Standing here today is not easy for me. But the truth is, this movement is too important to stay silent. The severity of what's happening with Bill 5 and Bill C-5 pushed me to find my voice, because what's at stake is bigger than my fear. Our lands, our waters, and our future are under threat. Today I rise to protest Bill 5 and Bill C-5. These bills are more than just ink on paper. They are weapons. Ones that threaten our lands, our rights, and our ways of life. They strip protections from our environment, silence Indigenous voices, and push aside the responsibilities that the government has to the people and to the earth. As Indigenous people, we are the original stewards of this land. We have protected these rivers, these forests, and these animals for generations. We don't see the earth as a resource to exploit. We see her as a relative. And our laws, our natural laws, teach us to live in balance and to think 7 generations ahead. Can the same be said of those who wrote these bills? These laws aren't just policies. They are an attack on our future. They are being passed in rooms far away from our communities, without our consent and without consultation. But make no mistake, we see what's happening and we will not stay silent. I am carrying a life inside me right now, and I think every day about the world I want my children to grow up in. A world where the water is clean, where the land is respected, where Indigenous youth have not just a seat at the table, but the power to shape their future. That's why I'm here, and that's why we are here. We are not just saying no to these bills. We are saying yes. Yes to justice, yes to land back, yes to clean water, to air we can breathe, and to a world where our kids are safe, free, and proud of who they are. To the leaders behind Bill 5 and C-5, we see you. We will hold you accountable. And to the people listening now, especially the youth, the mothers, the water protectors, and the land defenders, keep raising your voices, because every drumbeat, every prayer, and every word we speak today echoes far beyond this movement. We are still here, and we are not going anywhere. Miigwech.
Okiniwak Emskimisko kwe dishnakais beezing in donjaba wawash keshin do dem nish manadawak nishnabe and dao endayon aja endo noki. My spirit name is Strong Earth Women, and I am from Nipissing First Nation, and I'm part of the Deer Clan. I'm a two-spirit Anishinaabe person, and I'm a community leader of Endayon Aja, a two-spirit Indigenous youth-led organization rooted in love, resistance, and reclaiming our ways. I just want to say miigwech for the opportunity to speak with you all today. I've witnessed the impacts of colonization my entire life, not just in history books, but in our homes, our families, and our communities. And since I was 16, I've been working to challenge these systems and create something better for the next generations. I'm now 33, and while I'm tired and frustrated, I continue to raise my voice for our people, our land, and our future. Today I want to remind everyone that our communities have had deep sacred relationships with the land since time immemorial. The land is not just a place that we live, it's who we are. It carries our stories, our medicine, our ceremonies, and our identities. Bill 5 and Bill C-5 are not just policies. They are direct threats to that relationship, to our very existence. And we are here because we are tired of being forced to defend what was always been ours, tired of hearing apology after apology with no real action to follow. Stop apologizing and start doing what's right. These bills are not about reconciliation. They are about control, extraction, and we have fought hard to hold onto our identity. We have carried our bundles through generations of oppression. And we will not let these bills take another piece of who we are. If we lose the land, we lose a part of ourselves again. And that is something that I know we all here today will not allow, and that's why we're here. We're rising, we're resisting, and we are reclaiming our rightful roles as caretakers of this land. So to our youth and our community warriors, I see you, I hear you, and I walk with you. Miigwech. Our land has a purpose. The plant life, the animal life, the water, all of it is connected. Even that gold and those minerals they want to take out of the land, they're there for a reason. They have their purpose, and without them, our lands cannot be. So stop taking them. We cannot keep taking from the land without giving back and without thinking of the future generations who will walk behind us. Because if we don't have that land, we cannot live. Miigwech.
A quick announcement. I believe Queen's Park has set up some kind of cannon. I don't know what's going on. They have some weapons they're about to shoot in the air. A gun salute. So, just so you don't hear these loud booms and think we're getting shot at. We have some more representatives from Queen's Park to come speak.
Bonjour, Anin. Kiwad no maingan na dishnakas, maingan no dodem wakamakang na dunjaba. As a translation, that means my name is Northern Wolf. I'm Wolf Clan and I'm from my Indian reservation, Wakamakong First Nation. And I'd like to say thank you all for coming here and showing your support. It's amazing to see, all our people in our ribbon skirts and ribbon shirts, because today is it's a different for our people, All the stuff that's happened, it's very heavy. And some people can't take it, but I'm glad we all have the strength to carry on, I'm glad our community has strength to carry on and to keep our traditions going. That shows our resilience as a community. And I'm very proud of everyone, and I'm very proud to be Indigenous. I like to say thank you to the youth who have come here and, helped us all come together as one giant community, like Ramon here, and my partner Kira, and the youth here, the people here. It's a lot to build a sweat lodge. It's a lot to keep a sacred fire going for 27 days, 26 days, how many days it's been. And I'm very proud of our community. I'd like to thank, once again, all of our supporters too, that have kept us going, that, have come to help out a lot, including all of you. We're very grateful. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have anything written down either, so I'm going off of heart as well. But thank you. Miyu, Miigwech.
Wache, my name is Kira Spence. I come from Moose Cree First Nation on Moose Factory Island. My roots come from Washkagonish, Attawapiskat, Fort Albany, and Smoky Falls. I've been at camp for a while now, and I've been thinking about the effects of this bill. My grandparents always shared stories about the bush. They always told me stories about the trap lines. And when I was younger, they taught me how to pluck geese, partridge, and I grew up watching my grandparents gut caribou, moose, and I grew up on wild meat and just thinking about all the species that could potentially go extinct. And they're stripping my grandparents' childhood, what they grew up with, and potentially some of our youth won't get to experience that, but our goal is to stop that. I'm very grateful for this opportunity that Creator has given me, my partner, and others like Ramon to be able to share our voices like this, because not too long ago we were silenced for even trying to speak in spaces like this. First they tried to kill our children, now they're trying to steal our land once again and destroy it. And that's not right, we're going backwards.
I think of all the children at home. I know I didn't really grow up in Moose Factory. I moved away from the reserve when I was 9 years old. And I grew up here in Toronto, on and off, bouncing back and forth from here to North Bay and back again for school. But as an Indigenous youth, I am facing homelessness and I feel helpless, like I can't do much, but staying here in camp and holding space makes me feel like I can still do something, even if it's little to some people, but it's huge to some people in our community, maybe most. And my best friend Faith Lynn, she's cheering me on from Alberta over there. She's like, "You got this." And I'm just very grateful that you guys came as one, because you guys could have been anywhere else here today, but yeah. And I'm happy to see all the t-shirts with the logo I designed. I'm very proud of that. In the beginning when I was drawing this, it came from a dream. It came from a dream of where when I woke up from my tent on the 4th night of me sleeping there, I had a dream that there was lots of us at the Parliament building, and there was a powwow, and there were 7 eagles flying ahead, and each of them dropped a feather for the 7 generations, the 7 fires. It was a very powerful dream, so I intertwined that with the logo, and I've been gifted with dreams since I was younger. In the beginning, I was unsure of staying in camp. I didn't know if I wanted to stay, but after that dream, I knew I had to stay and fight for the ones who can't speak. My family up north, up in Moosonee, Port Albany, Washkagonish, they're all cheering me on. I'm considered like the black sheep of my family. I'm the only one that's basically followed in my auntie's footsteps. Teresa Spence, the former chief of Attawapskat. I look up to her a lot, and she said, "My girl, I'm sorry I can't be there right now, but just fight hard for our youth and stay strong." It feels weird that basically the torch got passed on, and unfortunately it shouldn't have to be that way, but it is that way. And I'm still here to fight. I'm here for the long run. I'm still young, I'm only 19, but I'm fighting for the youth and the elders or the adults that can't be here in Toronto. Miigwech.
We'd like to hear some words from our Deputy Grand Chief Anna Betty of Anishinaabe Aski Nation, and I want to say miigwech for making your way down here.
Pache meswe, memengo satsukan squid disnikasan, megasindo them, omagitaski nandonchi. I introduce myself with my spirit name, my clan, and that I of these lands. That's how I usually introduce myself at any gathering or assembly that I have the honor of speaking at. And today it is an honor that I get to sit and listen to the young people, because that is my role. That is my responsibility as a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and also one of our First Nations leadership, is to always listen, take that time to listen to our young people and to go and support them in their efforts, because they need that from us as the older generation. Our young people need our support. They need our love and our nurture and our care and our kindness. And I want to thank everyone who has been providing that. I am a descendant of a person who signed Treaty Number 9, and at that time when he agreed, when the Ontario and federal government came to them with this document that was already written, they didn't have time to negotiate. They didn't have time for that consultation and to talk to their people. And that, again, that's what the federal government and provincial government has done to us again with this Bill 5 and Bill C-5. They already had a document and they just, passed it in telling us to accept it. But we are not going to accept it because we have a responsibility we are the stewards of the lands. That is our sacred responsibility when we were put here in North America and Turtle Island, that we were meant to take care of the waters in these lands, and we will continue to do that. And we must continue to support our young people. We must continue to raise our voice. And we are not in any way opposing prosperity for our people, but we are asking that we have that respect, be given that respect to be here at the table or at the assemblies or in their places of government, to be able to maintain our rights as the original peoples of these lands, as those that signed the treaty, and that have the responsibility of ensuring that we have these rights for this generation and generations to come. Anishinaabe Nation and the leadership, we continue to have conversations and discussions with our leaders. Like this Friday, we're having a meeting with our leaders because they too are very firm and they too are there to ensure that we protect and maintain our position of being the stewards of these lands and protecting and honoring our treaty rights. So I want to acknowledge all those that have gathered here today and who have organized this. And as I said, the leadership of Anishinaabe Nation will continue to support our young ones. So get to me, Gwach Maswe, and ask Quentin.
Just a quick update. Those cannons are about to go off in 2 minutes. We have one more youth council presentation from Okiniwak.
Wache Miswe, hello everybody. My name is Shem Matanez. I come from Moose Creek First Nation and Attawapskat First Nation, and I'm here on behalf of the Mushkegowuk Regional Youth Council. But I'm also here as a young person who's tired of our people not being listened to by our governments. Earlier this June in Timmins, we brought together youth from Northern Ontario for the Youth Rising Together protest. That space was created by youth and for youth because nobody else was stepping up like we were. Youth were the first ones to speak out against Bill 5. That needs to be recognized. This isn't just about one bill or one policy. It's about everything these bills represent. The silencing of the Indigenous voices that our past leaders fought so hard for. I think about my little cousins and all our youth back home who are only in elementary school or high school. In 10 years, their lives could be changed for the worst.
It's an opportunity as a counselor to hear them and encourage them and to learn from them. Because I know we were all youth at one point and we all come from a different generation. So each time our voices were able to come forward. And I'm really proud of that our youth today are still here following in the footsteps of their ancestors. Because without them,
we wouldn't be here. And I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to say yawango to the organizers, to keeping our youth focused and encouraging each other and building that unity that we have been denied for so long with the government and how their policies divide us and make us all fight for pennies, peanuts. And when we need to now rise up and tell them that this isn't good enough. Our children deserve way better than what they have provided for us. And that we are very proud of them who take that opportunity that is provided for them. And I'm very honored to be here with them. So, in support of the youth, I want to ask my sister and my mother and my niece to come up, and we want to sing a song for the youth. And what it's called is My Grandmother's Garden. So it talks about how our grandmother planted a garden and that everything is good in it. So it is also a seed song, because I feel that this is appropriate for our youth, that they have that in them to grow and prosper and be a part of Canada's plan. We need to let them know that this is the way it has to go, that we are here and that we deserve and demand we be a part of this Canada's future, because Canada has to realize everybody matters. That's why we are here. We are not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for our future and those that are to come in all cultures, because the way we were taught is that we are inclusive. And this is a hard lesson that we've been teaching Canada forever. And now they are finally, not everybody, but they are finally opening their ears.
Sugulis wagweg, de yohanjis ni yung yets. Nawal ni wagit dalod on aga ni wagohanjod. Sugulis wagweg, my name is Tanya, and I am enjoying all of the messages that have been shared with us today. And they make my heart sing. And we need to encourage the youth, and that these seeds that are being planted right now are so important. We need to see and support and make them continue to grow. And these voices and these seeds will grow, the voices will grow, the movement will grow. And we need that at this time. We need to make sure our voices are being heard and that these seeds are planted. And this song that we're going to sing, it talks about our grandmother. Our grandmother says the seed is good. All the grandmothers that are here, they see, that's why we're singing this song, is that all the seeds are good.
I'd just like to say that it's a real honor to be here with each and every one of you, because again, we know the importance of gathering together in a community and making the people strong for the issues that are before us, because we know that these bills that have been passed are taking things away from the Indigenous peoples in Canada, and so it's really great that each and every one of you are here. Yawa.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to, in my language, I'd like to say Sagoli and greet everybody. And I want to say that I'm very proud to be here with our youth. I'm from Onetaag, I'm from Oneida. Whenever I get invited to speak, I always remind people, you know, I say, we're all related. And, you know, I remind them that we all have the same mother. And so, for that reason, we have more in common than the reasons that we look for to divide each other on a basis of heritage, on a basis of race, on a basis of even sexual orientation. There's so many ways that we as our men in particular, usually, not to put too fine a point on it, but you know, they're pretty pale, those guys. But you know, they've found a lot of ways to separate us from each other. Our culture teaches how to bring people together. You know, we have ceremonies we call, so even though I'm from Oneida, I adopted the Lakota culture. And so they have a ceremony called Honka, which is a ceremony of adoption. It's a ceremony that makes relationships between people, between even different races. So, you know, when I became a sun dancer after I joined and became a part of the Lakota culture and ceremonies, I started sun dancing when I was 23 years old. A lot of it was a ceremony that allowed us to come together as different. So, you know, what's different about, you know, the Lakota people is that they don't have clans in the way that we do back home. So back home, I'm a member of the Wolf Clan. We have a matrilineal society. And so I'm Wolf Clan following my mother. In South Dakota, among the Lakota people, they have what they call a Teoshwaye, which means extended family. And so even though I'm from Oneida, you know, they welcomed me as a member of their extended family. So I have relations right across Turtle Island through our ceremonies and through our culture. And, you know, but we need to come together even more now, more than ever before, because, you know, the Prime Minister says it all the time. We're under attack. Canada is under attack. So on this day, 1 year ago, when the Supreme Court of the United States granted President Trump immunity, this disruption that has subsequently happened is felt around the world. And so, you know, we can't afford to live in our bubbles anymore, our enclaves, or all of the things that we have created to separate ourselves from each other. We have to come together. We have to remind each other, as we often do, that we're all related. We all have the same mother. And so, anyway, I just wanted to, you know, one of the things that we always try to emphasize, and it's been a campaign at least since 2021, every child matters. So when we say that, we don't just say that and put it on a bumper sticker and you know, at the end of the day, you know, rub our hands to ourselves and say, okay, well, there we go. And every child matters. This is what it means, you know, to see them taking the lead and bringing us together as they have. Here we are in the capital of Ontario. And it was these youth that called out and asked us to join them because they have something that they want to say. And so I'm very proud of all of them, and I just wanted to remind everybody that, in fact, every child matters. And so try to adjust your minds accordingly. Y'all go. Talk, Council.
My name is Caitlin. I'm from the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. I'm an Indigenous youth. And I wasn't going to come up, but I really liked the previous individual's sentiments that he shared and talked about Haudenosaunee culture. And can't hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. I feel a little funny today because there's lots of allies who are walking through, and I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding as to why we're here. And for me, it's not just about like what goes on up here. It's like I feel this in my body. I feel it in my body with what's happening, and it's not just this situation. There's so much happening within politics trickles down. And when I was listening to the previous man speaking, I was thinking about Haudenosaunee culture and the Confederacy and how that shaped the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution was based on Haudenosaunee law, nation-to-nation relationship, and that informed their state-to-state. Here, my dog really wants to see me. Here, come on. It shapes our state-to-state governing, shaped their state-to-state governing, except for they took out the woman. We're talking about a matriarch society, and they say, hey, this is a great model, but let's take out the woman, replace it with the white man, and then they'll make the decisions. And how the relationships worked in Haudenosaunee culture and Confederacy is that you have a clan mother who represents the community, who speaks and does their best to speak on behalf of the community and the clans that they're representing. So I think it's just a little funny, and not in a good way. It's funny in the sense of, you know, you learn from us, you take from us, and in this situation you're disrespecting our land, you're disrespecting our people. In the Indian Act, you have explicit historical disregard for our women, and what happens to our women as a result of that? They're ending up in landfills like they're garbage. They're ending up in ditches like they're roadkill. And so this is just another notch on the belt as a disrespect for our people, a disregard for our rights as Indigenous people. And yeah, I feel it in my body when I think about this, and I'll give you some context about who I am. I know I look pretty white. I'm pretty mixed. But proudly from my mom's side, I'm Mohawk. I'm from Tyendinaga, and I'm from the Wolf Clan. And I grew up raised by some pretty strong influence of Haudenosaunee women, and yeah, woohoo! Yeah, I think that this is, as youth, we have a commitment to live the rest of our lives, to keep speaking our truth, but also speaking out on our ancestors who weren't able to speak out their truth. I grew up in the Tyendinaga area, and every Sunday I went to the church on the reserve, the Christian church, the Anglican church, because my grandmother was in the system that took away that culture, that taught her to go towards the faith, the church faith. And so if my grandma was here and I asked her, hey, what do you believe? And she would say, I believe in Jesus Christ. And so as a consequence, my mom grew up that way, and I grew up that way. But it's our role as Indigenous youth to learn, and people in general beyond youth, but to learn the truth, what we're supposed to learn, and teach our generations, those seventh generations, those future Haudenosaunees or those future Indigenous people, that there's truth in that we have a responsibility to continue that, to continue teaching what we were supposed to know, and to stand in solidarity. It's funny because I heard out west recently, I was at a conference, and somebody said, you know, we fight against each other, but that's because we're in the colonization hangover. We don't know how to treat each other sometimes because the system teaches us that we should fight against each other. And I think it's a lot, you see it in the youth community, that we have connectedness. And that's all we really want is to connect with our people, and we thrive from connection. We thrive when we reverberate knowledge. When we take knowledge, we learn something, and I learned something from all the speakers here today. I take that knowledge and I can go reverberate it and teach somebody new that lesson. So I think as you know, I look around and people are walking through going, what the hell are these people doing out here, standing and talking? We're talking and we're standing because we're pissed off. Continuous disrespect, it's historical, and it's ongoing, it's systemic, and it has direct impacts on our people. And so when you walk by, you drive by, you know, we're here because we're tired. And it's a lot to weigh on us. And that's like, I was talking to Rex earlier, one of the supporters in organizing this, and I said, you know, when I'm talking, I feel it in my throat because I'm upset. That's why we're here, is because we're upset and we're tired, and we want this to end, the continuous disrespect on our people. So, yeah, and I thank you all for being here. I think time is the best gift you can give someone. So thank you for showing up and listening. If you're an Indigenous person or an ally, and extra thanks to you, because a lot of our conflict comes from misunderstanding. And you know, this exchange of information is an opportunity for us to close those gaps just a little bit and reach understanding. That helps us thrive, really, because again, this isn't for just the Indigenous people. Why we're here for you too. And so yeah, I want to say thank you, Nyawa, for showing up, being present, for listening, and I hope we continue this, our allies, that you take something and we continue to shape our lenses and understanding. So yeah, thank you, and thank you to the organizers, the youth. These are the change makers.
My name is Tori Kress. I'm here today to help support the youth. I am one of the Idle No More organizers for the rally and march a little later today. And I've been watching across social media how youth have been leading the way in response to Bill C-5 here in so-called Ontario. And you know, there was a call out to grassroots community members that I found a little controversial. And so I thought, as you know, with my colleagues like the Porcupine Warriors, Idle No More Toronto, I represent the Idle No More Ontario chapter, and some labor and union groups that are totally behind Indigenous rights actions of, you know, self-determination. There's a lot of folks who support our self-determination, and our youth are literally screaming it from the land. And so we're here to help amplify their messaging and push back against not only the bills in the province here in Ontario, but also across the country. There's provincial legislation across the country that just bulldozes Indigenous rights, free prior informed consent, and violates treaties across the board. So we have to respond. We have to. We are nature fighting back, you know. We are, when we talk about we are the land, we are the land and we are the water. So we have to uplift these youth, you know, across the land, because they are, you know, it's what we're leaving them, and if we don't help support them, you know what I mean, we can't talk about Every Child Matters unless we're genuinely supporting every child that matters. You know, their voices are loud and clear. It's not even voices now, it's actions. Their actions have said, we want our land, we want our identity, we want to be connected, we want our ways, and we have the right to do that. We have the ability to do that, because everything we need to rebuild our communities in that beautiful circle way, you know, all the powers in the people, and they're all in our communities, and we just need our land back so we can genuinely heal. You know, it's not good enough to just be on a reserve. You know, we need our territory back, we need our land back, That's where we're going to heal. That's where we're going to rebuild. And all of this legislation is in the way of that. It's like reconciliation with a W-R-E-C-K. For us, it's like a survivor's day. You know, we're surviving genocide. There's an active and ongoing genocide happening right now. So I am European and Anishinaabe and Potawatomi, and so like recently my dad asked me how I reconcile with that, and I don't know that I do. You know, the society wasn't built for us. It was built for settlers, so I understand them wanting to celebrate what they think they have, right? But it's all stolen land. It is a controversial day, and Canadians should expect pushback, you know, from people who are surviving genocide. You know, as hard as it is for them to see and hear us pushing back against those same loud cannons that displaced us from our land, you know, that display, like, folks who were standing here resisting that, you could feel that. You could feel the sound waves ripple through your body, and all I could think about is our ancestors who took shots, you know. And I'm here today because of their sacrifices, because of their warrior spirits, because of everything that they went through, and the prayers, you know, the prayers they had for our future. We're here, and we have the right to self-determination, and that's what that's what the youth are showing us, and we have to support them. Like, there's no other way. You know, we are the future. Indigenous people, Indigenous rights, like, we are the solution to climate change. Our traditional knowledge is so ancient and so powerful. You know, we are the answer.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you tell me more about, you know, all the information you're providing to the community here?
Yeah, okay, so basically I have tons of information here. All right, so this right here, the Johnny MacDonald statue, in front of it used to be the shoe memorial for the Kamloops, amongst all of the other children the thousands and thousands and thousands of children who were missing and murdered. Because they were murdered in residential school, and neglect is murder. There's a bunch of information here. I brought a lot of stuff for people to look at also. So I have the Indian Act here. I have stuff about the federal government. I have the Tura Wampum. I wish I had the silver cuppage chain breakdown. Also a great resource is native-land.ca. I also have the Tukarantu Indigenous Peoples Pocketbook. I also have some of the breakdowns of the land frameworks legislation at the provincial level as well.
And what are these books here?
This is the full TRC. So this is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So this is my collection, and I also brought just like a tree identification book and a map of Canada, the world. But I also had moose hide pins, but we gave them all away. So there's a lot. I also have, this is the Canada's Green Plan summary. This is Brian Mulrooney's plan from back in the 90s and what their green plan was at the time, which is wildly progressive for the conservatives we know today. It's pretty, and also it's like they had the precursor for the carbon tax, but also a whole bunch of like waste management and plans for recovering stuff, as opposed to not just like reuse, reduce, recycle, but recover as well. I also have some stuff because this is what they put up in regards to the Johnny MacDonald sign or statue. This is Decolonization is Not a Metaphor by Steve Tuck and Kei Yang, and then also this is Race, History, and Imperialism, which is basically a breakdown of Richard Keigel's paper from the 1822, which is still pretty relevant to today, actually, with Doug Ford's remarks saying, you know, hat in hand stuff and nonsense like that. I also just am generally here to educate people on sort of like, you know, the different impacts of this. So it's not just going to be mining like they think. It is dump sites. It is dump sites, nuclear power plants. It is highways. Ontario Place is an example of it. The Science Center. Would you like some information? Would you like some information?
Well,
Would
thank
you guys
very
like some
much.
information today? Yeah. Do you want to take some too? No problem. Do you want one as well? You're okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
And how meaningful is
Hey, would you guys like it? Oh, he's walking away.
how meaningful is sharing all this information to non-Indigenous people who are here gathering in Canada?
Oh, incredibly. So I'm actually from the Greenbelt. So we're seeing very similar stuff happening up there. Where we're seeing a whole bunch of, we're seeing all of our farmland disappear for like random McMansions in the middle of like what is some of the only farmable land in Ontario. A little bit of information for you today. And that's the Greenbelt scandal that Doug Ford was the artisan of, which is still happening. It's still ongoing right now. They say they stopped it and the feds were supposed to be looking into it, but they were not. They just got their hands in it because where do you think all the housing's going to go? But it's not fixing our housing crisis because nobody can afford a mansion in the middle of the farmland. So I'm bringing information to people because we are treaty people, we live on treaty land. This bill is very deceptive. It makes it sound like it is going to save our economy, but in fact we know that's not true. We know that the vast majority of our resources will go to the states, so it's almost like we're actually just looking for a new empire to attach ourselves to as a new colony. But we one time came together with the First Nations in order to fend off the United States before, and without those allyships and without those treaties, like Sir Isaac Rock and Tecumseh in the War of 1812, we wouldn't even have our own sovereignty. So I'm all about also providing as much information to the public in as an accessible format as possible, because like this bill is 69 pages long. This one's like, nobody is gonna read that. Everybody's gonna hear people talking about it. So getting that information out and talking to people one-on-one and meeting them where they're at is actually the most effective way in which you can create ideological change. And that's the war we're fighting right now, is an ideological war, right? So that's why I'm out here talking to people in this heat, and I've been here since 5 a.m. and I didn't sleep last night. But I've given out so much of this, and it's actually not about us down here. It's just about connecting with the folks who are on the ground up north, who are going to be inevitably faced with being the front line of things that are not their responsibility. This shouldn't have passed in the first place. This is anti-science. This is anti-environment. This is like economic genocide. This is really bad for both municipalities and for First Nations communities. Like it is, you cannot, like, it's bad. It's really, really bad. And the pipelines are part of that. The forest fires are being used to filter people off of Reserve South, because it's always been a policy of assimilation here. That has always been the plan. First it was to move people onto reservations, and then it was to move people off of reservations so you could get the land. So they're using the forest fires as an opportunity to do that, which is why they pushed the bill through at this time. I've never seen forest fires so bad in my entire life, and I also know the forest fires burn at such a heightened temperature that they actually melt the steel that goes into making pipelines, and then when the frost and the freeze comes through, it expands and cracks, and then you get leaks and spills, and then you get more forest fires and things like that. So one of the biggest spills we've ever seen in Canada ever was actually Fort McMurray burned down in 2016. And keep in mind, when the surface fire is out, there's always roof fires, and those burn for much longer. And so Fort McMurray burned down, and then the biggest spill I've ever seen, that I'm pretty sure we've ever seen, happened there and dumped 1 billion meters cubed, billion of that of oil into the Athabasca River, which is a National Heritage River, which feeds into countless ecosystems and things like that. So this is economic genocide, but it's also environmental suicide. And we could be the forefront leading runners of environmental scientific research with our Indigenous peoples, with in tandem with what they've taught us and what we have to offer as well in general as partners in that moving forward. And we're fighting them, and it's not even us, it's them. It's the government, because it's such a small amount of people who are benefiting and profiting off of this. And a lot of these places are actually, the mine sites are actually foreign investors. Eagle's Nest is from Australia. That's not even, Ontario Place is Romania or something. It's bad, and it's not gonna get better. And so settlers need to know these things so that they don't become tools of the colonial project in which they direct their anger towards Indigenous people. they need to understand that we're actually in this together, and we actually need to unite against the leadership who seeks to exploit the people for their benefit and for the deficit of all of us. Like the water situation is going to get real bad, and the food situation is going to get real bad. Drought is no joke. So,
thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And your name is?
My name's Bria.
The day ended with a powerful Kill Bill 5 rally and march led by Idle No More Toronto and grassroots Indigenous activists, showing once again that Indigenous youth are not only present, but leading the way. Thank you for watching. This is Miguel for Regent Park TV. Stay tuned for more stories that matter to our communities.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit us on all our social media platforms. Please visit our website for more information.